you've made the offer, you've signed that offer to purchase, you've agreed on the amount that you're willing to offer, the seller has accepted, and now you are excited about the process that's going to happen, leading to you becoming a new homeowner in South Africa. What do you need to know? And actually, when do you need to know this? So today I'm going to be covering the property transfer process in South Africa, what you can expect, what you need to know, the costs involved, and everything in between. Now, when you are buying property in South Africa, as a buyer, it's important for you to do your homework before you sign an offer to purchase. You'll understand why in a minute. So the process of transferring property in South Africa can be long, complicated, and full of legal complications. And it's important for you to actually be working alongside a very good property attorney that's keeping you in the loop about everything that's happening in your property transfer process. What does this look like? So when you are signing your offer to purchase, first of all, that offer is supposed to be reviewed in your favor, or so that the offer can be made in your best interest. That is because when you are signing an offer to purchase property, that offer is typically drafted, obviously not by your property lawyer. It is typically drafted by the seller's transferring attorney. Alternatively, it's drafted by the realtor's attorney, so they are appointed by the realtor to draft that offer. So you can already understand that the clauses that are in that offer are going to favor the person who instructed the lawyer who drafted the offer. And that is why you never ever go into a property transaction without having a review, understanding the clauses in that contract, and understanding what the implications are. And what we as property lawyers do, especially us at LC attorneys, is we basically believe that buyers ought to be protected. So your interests as a buyer are also of paramount importance, and you need to have that protection, very same protection that the seller has in a transaction, and you only get that if you look out for yourself. So you can expect that as soon as the offer is signed, first of all, you have an opportunity in the offer. Normally, the seller will choose the transferring attorneys, but you are also bringing in the money in the transaction, meaning you are a party to the contract, and a contract is an agreement between two parties. So we have seen where buyers are saying to the seller, look, I'm willing to buy this property provided you use XYZ attorneys. In that case, then the buyer has certainty that there's not going to be a situation where the attorneys are leaning more towards the side of the seller, or towards the side of the realtor, because the realtor brought the word to the attorney. So in order to avoid that situation, you as the buyer need to be in control of your transaction, meaning you have to also understand how the contract either favors you or is actually not favorable for you, and what you can do about it. Consult with a property attorney. We invite you for a free consultation so we can help you, or we can show you how we help our clients who buy property in South Africa. Now, in the transfer process, you will find that there is a step where the signed offer gets sent to the transferring attorney, depending on how the offer was signed and what amendments and revisions were made in the offer, which you can do as the buyer, or rather your property attorney can help you with that, because you are making the offer and it needs to be made obviously on your own terms. And then it will then be taken to the transferring attorneys, who will then look at what the offer says and strictly implement what it says, or they are supposed to be implementing what it says. In that process, you will be required to provide certain documentation, your FICA, including other supporting documents. Documents are going to be drafted by the transferring attorney so they can be used at the deeds office. Transfer duty application will be made via SARS, and there will be transfer duty payable, which is also another cost that you need to be mindful of as a property owner. Among other costs is the transfer fees, so there's the transfer duty, and there could be VAT and it could either be included in the purchase price or not, depending on the contract, which is why it's important for the contract to be reviewed. And then you could also have bond registration fees, and then you have other fees that can be applicable depending on what is required, i.e. consent from the HOA and many other requirements. Now, what also happens is if there is a bond to be cancelled, meaning the seller had a bond registered to the bank, that bank will require, or through their attorneys, guarantees to give consent to the cancellation of the bond, because there's no way transfer can happen into your name if the bond is not dealt with. So that is also another step. And then there's also rates application. That is through the municipality. So the transferring attorneys are going to apply to the municipality to get rates clearance. They cannot lodge at the deeds office without rates clearance. And then there's also going to be many other documents that could be applicable. So the whole process is long and cumbersome. It can take up to 3 months or more if there are some issues and complications. And so you need to really be prepared for this process. You will be required to sign certain documentation depending on where you are buying. The requirements can be strict or lenient. If there is no exclusive use area that you need to sign. Once again, when you are working alongside property attorneys who are checking everything for you, and you can find out how we help our clients. We are even copied in the correspondence when they are buying property, so we can help keep them at ease and interpret everything that's happening, give them the go-ahead to sign documentation without them having doubt and uncertainty. And also when it comes to paying all the necessary amounts, how they introduce the funds, all of those things are very important for you to understand as a property buyer. I invite you to a free consultation with LC attorneys to understand how we help our buyers buy property in South Africa with tax and estate plan integration. These are people who invest in assets and not just liabilities, because there is a way that you can also invest in real estate and then it ends up being a liability, or you can think you're investing in real estate and then it ends up being a liability. So you are invited to this free consultation. And then I also invite you to subscribe here. If you find this of value, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notification of more videos that are going to be coming up. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.